Donald Trump's administration is falling apart because there has never been a more detestable figure in American history. So everyone is quitting, everyone is running scared, and everyone is turning on Donald Trump from within the White House's own staff are begging Republican members of Congress running for re-election to run away from Donald Trump. That is the current state of the administration, and the rest of the government that Donald Trump is trying to tear apart, it is just as bad. And that is the news that we are getting today. A member of Donald Trump's government, or someone who is vehemently opposed to it, quitting and telling all, as they absolutely should, because it has been one of Donald Trump's goals to make us all believe that government doesn't work. But it doesn't work when you have an idiot in charge, not just broadly. And it is why this news is so important, this leaked secret is so important, and the fight back against Donald Trump's takeover is so important. But it all begins with DHS, because that is where we are seeing this resignation, a top government official leave, and it is because this is maybe the most hated agency there is. This story gives us the context before we get to the quitting, what it shows about Trump's administration.
So, surprise, here's a development in a story we have followed super closely over the course of the last year. As you know, the Trump administration had this plan to build all these gigantic Trump prison camps all over the country. They spent over $1 billion on these huge warehouses, buying up huge warehouse facilities all over the country, and they were going to use them to lock up tens of thousands of people. Huge Trump prison camps. Some of them would have been among the biggest prisons in the world, all to hold people without trial. After ferocious resistance to these facilities from basically every town all across the country where they wanted to put one, we got reporting last month that the Trump administration has now abandoned this idea. They are pulling back from almost all of them. They bought 11 of these warehouse facilities, and the reporting, first in the New York Times, was that at least 7 of the 11 warehouses they bought, they're now planning to either resell them or repurpose them for some other government use, but they're not going to make them into these gigantic Trump prison camps after all. So of the 11 they bought, 7 of them to be resold or repurposed. But then what about the other 4, right? That would leave 4 of these prison camps that they're still apparently going forward with. Well, one of those we have an update on. One of those was a facility in Surprise, Arizona. That is the name of the place, Surprise. And there, like many of these places where these things were going to be cited, we have seen ardent and intense and dedicated local pushback. Early on, more than 1,000 people showing up to a Surprise, Arizona City Council meeting to say, no, they do not want this. The pushback has gone so far as a dramatic proposal from local residents in Surprise that their city government should be dissolved altogether. Because if their local government can't be counted on to fight hard enough against this Trump prison camp, these activists in the town, people who live in the town, are proposing that they should disincorporate Surprise, Arizona to get those local leaders out of the way, because maybe the county where they are, Maricopa County in Arizona, will help them fight. That said, the Democratic-run state government in Arizona has been an ally to those locals in Surprise, helping them push back. Arizona's Attorney General Chris Mays filed a lawsuit to stop the Trump administration from building this thing. Arizona's 2 U.S. Democratic senators are very much trying to associate themselves with the fight against the prison, which is a sure sign that the people fighting against the prison are on the right side and they're going to win. Here's Senator Ruben Gallego with some of the young people, some of the high school kids who've been fighting against this thing. Their school would be just blocks away from this huge prison camp. Just today, we got a statement from Senator Mark Kelly's office congratulating the people of Surprise, Arizona, particularly the young people in Surprise, Arizona, for how hard they've been fighting against this prison camp, commending their work to stop this thing.
So it's no surprise that people fucking hate ICE. They hate DHS. It is fantastic to see the people power across the country pushing back against Donald Trump, saying, no, we are not going to take this. I think Democrats need to take a bit of a cue and realize that the broad majority of Americans hate ICE. They don't want Palantir patrols in their neighborhoods. They don't want their text messages monitored. They don't want people spying on them. It's just what we don't want. And you're not, moderate to say that you're going to compromise with the Republicans. No, that is an incredibly radical, in fact, position to take as a Democrat, because nobody wants this. It is overwhelmingly unpopular. And that is why Donald Trump just saw a top DHS official quit and spill all on how terrible his government is. Trump official takes blistering parting shot as he quits. A top DHS official says he is thrilled he will no longer be a cog in the Trump administration. A top official at the Department of Homeland Security has torched Donald Trump on his way out the door. Mark Rosenblum, the executive director of the Office of Homeland Security Statistics, said that he was thrilled to announce his resignation in a LinkedIn post on Monday after 10 years at the department. This was a fantastic post, so I want to read it in full. Again, this is from Mark Rosenblum. All credit to you. This is incredibly bold to post. I want to get into it. Mark writes, "I'm sad and thrilled to say that yesterday was my last day working at DHS. I'm incredibly proud of the work my team and I did to build the Office of Homeland Security Statistics. When I started at OIS in 2016, we were a scrappy team of 11 that struggled to produce annual reports. Over the next 10 and a half years, we grew to a pre-Trump 2.0 staff of 45 people. We expanded the scope of our reporting from only immigration to all DHS statistical data. We matured official data processing to update monthly. We launched new lines of daily and weekly internal reports. We massively expanded our analytic capacity. We established the DHS-wide Statistical Official Council and validated hundreds of enterprise statistical standards. We overhauled our website and we modernized our IT system and migrated our data to the cloud. It's been an honor to serve the public by improving DHS quality and supporting evidence-based policymaking. I am sad to suspend my career in public service and leave my amazing team. My OHSS coworkers are outstanding career federal civil servants. They are smart, mission-focused experts who produce high-quality results in a challenging and often hostile work environment. I've partnered with hundreds of other fabulous feds over the last decade. I work side by side with strong, mission-driven contract teams. But it will come as no surprise that I'm thrilled to end my relationship with the current administration. Between the war on immigrants, the war on feds, and the war on facts, not to mention the crazy war in Iran and the brazen corruption, I just need a change. I'm also thrilled that my next role will allow me to continue working on immigration data and immigration policy with goals that actually align with my values and those of most other Americans." A DHS spokesperson, so you can assume a pretty shitty person, pushed back on the claim saying people are always welcome to their opinion. That doesn't make it right or factual. It seems like the data collection guy kind of has it pretty spot on, actually. I think that this is so important, and thank you to Mark for being brave and sharing your story. Donald Trump came into the White House alongside Elon Musk and Russ Vought with one goal in mind, and that was to continue the work that was done by the likes of a Ronald Reagan, a George W. Bush, and make you believe that government is just fundamentally broken. It's something that we should get rid of. Now, of course, every president has expanded their executive power, but at the same time, Republicans and conservatives have told you, yeah, we don't really need this thing. But we do. And it's not people kind of snaking for a huge paycheck that work in our government. They're people who care, who want to see things get better, who want your tax dollars spent in a more efficient way. It's people like Mark, career civil servants, and the fact that that has become a demonized term just shows how ugly Donald Trump's America has gotten. Donald Trump appeals to the stupidest people out there every single day when he tries to create this conspiracy of a cabal of civil servants. People who are educated and have an understanding in what they're doing have somehow become the enemy. And it is because we live in an age of anti-intellectualism. And we do because people who want power, like Donald Trump, like Elon Musk, like J.D. Vance, they're dumb as shit. And their ideas are bad. So they must pretend that they are good and that they are smart, but they're not. They are stupid people's idea of smart people, but they're not smart. They're just scammers. And Donald Trump's own family member called them just that.
First of all, Donald never actually made any money in his life. He inherited a lot of money, lost a lot of money, and then has since figured out how to leverage the power of the presidency to grift. He has more money now than he has ever had before in his life. He was never a billionaire. until now. And that should raise red flags for everybody because, one, nobody should use the presidency, the power of the presidency, to enrich themselves. They should be paying their full attention to the work of being president of the United States. Secondly, by making money in the ways he and his useless children have, he continues to put this country's national security at risk, which means he's putting all of us at risk, because when you have a president of the United States who is basically put out a sign saying, "I'm for sale," only bad things can happen.
Donald Trump is a scammer and a liar. That is what he will always be. That is the only thing that he will always be, is a scammer and a liar who is trying to tell you that government is broken while he breaks it himself. The big problem with the corruption in government isn't civil servants who want to do a good job. It is the fact that Donald Trump has profited massively off the presidency, and the corruption is rampant, as Senator John Ossoff always calls out.
This morning, Berean, I'd like to share with you some brief words on the subject of misrule as we endure the daily spectacle of this broken man and his ruined presidency. Each day, his allies are fewer, and even they no longer deny his corruption. The obscene self-dealing while he plunges the nation deeper into reckless war, while the people pay more for everything, and millions lose health coverage, while he rakes in billions and builds himself a ballroom and prepares again to attack our elections. And Berean, let's be clear, just one man attempted election fraud in Georgia in 2020, Donald J. Trump, when he called Brad Raffensperger to demand he, quote, find precisely the number of votes he needed to win in a state he'd lost. Do you remember that phone call, Berean? But Brad Raffensperger refused. He and enough men and women of integrity told the president that the law forbade him to overturn the rule of the people. And the failure of that scheme to seize the presidency has enraged him ever since. Now nearly 6 years on, returned to power, but more reviled than ever. He reanimates his 2020 obsession while he spirals in fear of the rebuke to come this fall and the accountability that will follow it. Because accountability is coming. Berean. So with each passing day, we see him dig the moral pit deeper and deeper. But Pastor, Proverbs says, whoever digs a pit will fall into it.
That is the problem with the Trump administration. It is the corruption. It is the self-dealing. It is not people who have spent their entire lives looking to make government better. It is people who are trying to spend 2 years in government, extorting us all so the rest of their life can be spent in fantastic wealth that they did not earn, but they stole from us. And we have to continue to call that out. We're going to, on this show,